I was going to bring up the Cowboys and the coaching openings. Cowboys are not. At this particular time, they have to the 14th to make a decision on Mike McCarthy. They told the Bears no when they were asked if they could interview McCarthy. The Bears, story by Brad Biggs, who writes for the Chicago Tribune, covers Chicago. Iowa State coach Matt Campbell expected to interview for their head coaching job.
Yeah, I wondered when he would actually go take an interview. For a head coaching job. And now that there's one open in the Midwest where it seems like he only wants to live, it's intriguing. And, I wouldn't pair Caleb Williams and Matt Campbell together like as a match, but I would, if I'm the Bears, at least interview him and see, like, hey, what are your ideas for this? Tell us, because he's as consistent a coach as you can get, and that's not something the Bears know what that is. And they haven't had one in a very long time. Lovie Smith, last consistent coach that they had.
And they fired him after 10-6.
Yeah. And so did the Bucs did that too.
Yeah, they did. You're right.
I mean, that's not what you want to see if you're an Iowa State fan, but it's a compliment. If anything else, if he stays around, then you just use that in recruiting and say, oh, well, the Bears wanted to talk to him last season, and you can come play for him because he wants to be in Ames, Iowa. I mean, you already know the recruiting pitch, so that's there for them if he turns it down. But, I mean, obviously he has some interest if he's taking the interview. This isn't a, nope, I'm in Ames, Iowa, my feet are planted here, and I'm, no way. This is him going to take an interview, apparently, so it's worth a little bit of, side glance at the very minimum, and maybe more than that, depending on how well that interview goes and what's in his heart and what he wants to do. Everybody's been predicting, alongside of Notre Dame's going to have to ultimately be forced into a conference. If you say that for 10 years in a row, eventually by, year 11, maybe I told you it was going to happen. Well, that's the same thing with Matt Campbell.
Yeah.
He's leaving Iowa State. How long have we been doing this now? 6 years that we've been saying this about Matt Campbell, maybe a little bit less than that. So, yeah, maybe eventually that will be right as well. Right around the same time as the Notre Dame conference stuff. But those two things have been yearly narratives, basically, for several years now at this point, and Notre Dame's not joined a conference, although there's new pressure being applied, and they have no incentive to do so, mind you. Whereas with Matt Campbell, he's been at Iowa State a while now. Does he feel like it's tapped out? Like getting to the Big 12 championship, getting beat up by Arizona State? Has he done what all he set out to do, and has he maybe exhausted his resources in Ames, or just, what he wants to do there? Does he want a new challenge in life? Only Matt Campbell really knows that, but he does obviously love Iowa State. They've got a very sturdy program. They're going to be in the mix most every year with the current setup and consistency, but these guys are competitors, and you know what? Maybe he wanted to be an NFL head coach earlier in life. I don't know. We've never really heard him talk about it. Maybe people in Iowa have, but I can see where that would be an attraction, especially in today's college football. He doesn't strike me as the type of guy that wants to dabble in NIL constantly 24/7. He doesn't strike me as the type of guy who wants to have to raise money for facilities 24/7 or do all of the extracurricular things that a college head coach has to do. He strikes me as somebody that would actually, guys, really love a schedule that's sturdy.
Yep.
And that when you're going to be home and when you're not, and you're not on the road recruiting. So, replace Matt Campbell's name with somebody else, but especially knowing kind of a little bit his personality, I think the helping young people mature and grow and be better people, I think that's very much a part of him, but I don't think that's non-existent in the NFL. It's definitely a different mix, but with college football the way that it is, I could see where it'd be very appealing to go off to Chicago. Even as messy as that situation is, I'd have to get Kevin Warren the hell out of there first. I would not want to work for that man to save my life, but you know what? Maybe there's things in place to reassure him that it would still be I don't know. I think not knowing his ultimate inside desires, it's hard to say what happens here. But obviously, if you're taking an interview, there's some level of interest there. So hold on tight, Iowa State fans.
Why wouldn't you want to work for Kevin Warren, Craig?
Because he's a con artist. He's an absolute con artist, in my opinion. And he's trying to get them a stadium. And then once he's done with that, he'll move on to the next project. And just like he did with college football. Here, I'm going to throw this grenade, and then I'm going to roll out as soon as it starts to get hot in here. he'll do the same. He'll do what he did in Chicago, get his little pat on the head for the stadium, and then probably move on to something else. But no, I don't trust the guy. I don't think he's very trustworthy. I think a lot of people in Chicago, with their very limited experience, would tell you that as well. I think he got way too much credit during COVID and like the whole Big Ten and what's going to happen here. But he got the job done that they wanted him to get done. So, that looked good on his resume. But, yeah, I don't trust his leadership personally.
Was he also, and only because it's a blur at times, was he the commissioner or was it Petitti when USC and UCLA made the move?
He was.
Warren?
Yeah.
Then who was the commissioner? It wasn't, well, I guess he would have been the commissioner then as well when Oregon.
No,
he was
that
the
was
commissioner
Petitti.
until last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
God, it seems like he's been gone longer
yeah.
than that.
So no, he wasn't the one who got Oregon. I mean, like that, he was already gone with the Bears, but he's the one who threw the grenade. He's also the one who, created the alliance, between the ACC, Big Ten. And
Don't ever use
Dude,
that word on the show.
he got the expansion and he got the TV deal.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
he
No,
did
he
what he
did.
was supposed to do. I'm just saying I don't trust the guy. I know there's a lot of Bears fans that don't seem to like him, that feel like he's just there to build a stadium and then basically bolt and doesn't really care about the makeup of the team and how successful they are. All he cares about is getting the stadium. Now, that may be a completely wrong read on their part, but that's what I've seen numerous times now throughout the season when reading about the Bears. And, so I don't even know how we started talking about Kevin Warren here, but the leadership of the Bears.
Matt
Yeah,
Campbell.
I don't think he's going to be around long enough for it to matter is my point. So, yeah, but Matt Campbell, I'm not surprised at all that he's getting a look, and I'm not surprised at all that he'd be interested. But I think Ames is a big part of his heart, so it wouldn't be shocking if he's back in Ames, Iowa, riding that sideline once again. Well,
hopefully for Iowa State, he will be there for quite some time. But that is a compliment when your coach is contacted by one of the royalty when it comes to the NFL, despite their lack of success of recent years.